Sure.
What sort of like stuff could
So
we be doing together?
the most obvious one is going to be if you're doing as tank and support here is going to be if you're playing as a Winston, a ball, something like that, it's going to be having a Zenyatta, right? To easy follow up on the
Yeah.
Discord or having the Ana for the Nano, because you can still get pretty good Nano Monkey value. But the most obvious one is going to be, hey, let's run a Zenyatta. And that is something that you can go, hey, A, Zenyatta's really good right now. B, if you guys can get coordinated and he gets the Discord on something that, you then sneak up on, you drop from above on, etc., that is still going to be a big deal in changing your time to kill, etc. And it's not like you can't do a more peel type dive playstyle around him either. So that's going to be one of the more powerful things. In terms of a synergy more abusive than that right now, it probably is that the biggest tank synergy is probably yeah, Zen with Ball right now probably is the biggest synergy. I'm just thinking, like, there's obviously other things you can run, like you can go, hey, Lucio Reinhardt, yes, those are good together,
Yeah.
etc. But that's probably the most abusive one is dive tank that can take advantage of the Discord right now.
I've seen a lot of Zen run. I've been playing a lot of ranked the last 2 weeks. I've just seen Zen pretty much every game. I assume he's one of the stronger supports right now.
Yeah, I would say Zen's probably the strongest support in the game right now. It's a little divided on split on how people are playing. Seeing some teams sort of play still the last meta, which may still be the meta, which was, the Ball, Sigma, Zen, Tracer, Echo type stuff. And then
Yeah.
you're seeing over in Korea some more Winston, Zarya, double bubble stuff with
Okay.
either a Zen or an Ana plus a Briggs as the support. So Zen is in a very good place right now. If we're not playing in Korea, he is considered the defining piece of the meta, I'd argue. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anything else?
No, nothing that I can think of right now.
Cool. Cool. Then let's take a look into this and see what we. Oh, there we go. And see what we get because I'm sure there will be plenty.
Yeah.
Greeting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Knocked back with mine, not a big deal. Okay. Your Hanzo's gone, man. So not a huge deal, but did you just not realize your Hanzo was gone here, or do you think, hey, I need to move the Ana around and I'm gonna keep her moved around for 15 seconds until my Hanzo's back?
Yeah, no, I wasn't really thinking at all about the status of my team. I was just thinking main goal, jump in the supports, do something to the supports.
Got
That
it.
was my
Got it.
thought process there.
Okay. No problem. So you can do that. You can go, hey, I'm Winston. I'm going to come around this corner and I'm going to jump back on the support that I expect to be here. And it's 15 seconds in, though it wasn't when you leapt. So now know, hey, it's probably an Ana that's back here. That's something that I want. The problem is this is with your Hanzo gone. And also your Ana's still back here. So she's what, 3 seconds from transitioning into a place where she's influencing the fight. And
Yeah.
Yuzaria is probably a good second from that. So like this is a little A early, but B just because of where your team status is. B you just wouldn't do it with your Hanzo gone. You'd go, yeah, no, we'll wait. Fine, they earned it. 15 seconds before our first real push happens. So just because you can't stay in alive. Like you shouldn't be
Yeah.
able to stay alive with this dive. But not a big deal. Let's see how it goes.
Excuse me for dropping in. Barrier up.
You should swap to the Mercy. I'm surprised that you went for the reload there rather than just swapping for the Mercy, but not a big deal. I do like that you had a plan to break line of sight immediately. A little dicey. You're leaping in with about half health and no bubble. You wanted to find a way to cleanly try to drop on this because you need to have your leap to get out, especially if you don't have your bubble. The truth is, if you'd passed over here, they might have walked away. But if you'd passed over here, you probably would have been able to drop, had your bubble, and still had leap available to get out, which I think you're going to need. But let's take a look. Yeah, you do a good job of rounding these corners when you get into trouble, going, this is how I'm going to extend my lifespan. okay. I mean, you're gonna lose her, I assume? Yeah. Okay, so again, I just want to point out, this fight is over. You know your Anna and Zarya are both down. You don't know that everyone is as low health as you are, but these guys haven't really taken, meaningful losses here. We're kind of just extending the inevitable. We're losing this fight and we're dragging it out and sort of giving them more resource, more charge. We need a clean reset and a clean, fresh engage that you can take control of here.
Vital signs of
Which you're now going for. Good. So again, not to like belabor the point, but there's now a minute off the clock. There was going to be 15 seconds off the clock for you to get there, and there was going to be another 15 seconds off the clock if we'd waited for our Hanzo, but that was effectively 30 seconds that we sort of wasted on a bad push, where they probably unevenly got ult charge. Yeah, they're a little bit ahead of us on ult charge if we look at the two, and it's time off of our attacking time bank. So like, not like, oh my god, how could you possibly do this? But just, you do want to be aware you were the one who made that engagement happen, and it wasn't an engagement we wanted.
You're covered. This will help.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Okay, they spent wall, which is a good sign, but we just swapped heroes, which means we still have someone in spawn. Okay. Totally fine. And you guys happen to get the pick there. Fine.
You're covered.
I'm claiming this objective.
This is messy, but it works. Playing to get a bubble, yep. This is probably a go grab mega situation. Yeah, you have leap and you've had leap for a while here. I get it, you want to make sure point that, keeps ticking here, etc. But this is a pretty darn quick grab for you that you can go, pretty darn quickly. Hey, I'm here, I leap and I land right here, and I'm behind cover in, just a second, and I've got my mega, because you weren't really getting much in terms of heals here, as you can see. You wanted the 2 ticks. Let's rewind just a second. I think you needed to break through that for a moment, but let's take a look.
Hello there.
Yeah, when you've got 3 here, I think this was a, hey, let's go get it situation.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hope you hold Primal. I think your team wins this even if you hold it. Yeah, good.
Rally to my position.
I am on objective A captured. New defense point. Objective B.
Hey,
Okay, let's see what our engagement timing looks like on this one. Okay.
I've reached the objective. Let's coordinate our efforts.
What were the comms like? What were the comms like here? Talk to me.
Let's see. It was mainly I was saying, okay, let's go in main, look for a dive. I called out a widow once I got shot there, and I decided to jump the widow because she seemed like she was alone.
Sure, sure.
So I just said, okay, I'm jumping the widow.
Okay, was there anything from your team of like, hey, we're grabbing right now? Was there anything from your team that made this push need to happen effectively when it happened? Or was this you sort of going, hey, I'm calling the tempo and this is the tempo I want?
Yeah, no, it was me mainly making the calls. See,
Sure.
I've noticed in ranked a lot, I don't get many teammates who
Sure.
pick up the mic as easily.
I don't disagree. I think that's absolutely true. It's just if you look back at this, like this is a lot of staging damage to have taken. So if
Yeah.
we look here, like if your team is telling you, hey, we're going to hit the grab right now, or if your team is going, we're pushing or something like that, absolutely. This is a situation where you go, forget my role is to make sure that the Widow is tied up. I'm going to go and make sure this Widow is tied up. Unfortunately, you've taken damage just staging, and you're going to take more damage on the way in. And okay, we don't know that you're going to take more damage on the way in, but Widow's looking at you, and she doesn't have a sight line on the opponents up there, so she's 100% going to continue to hold this sight line, right?
Yeah, I get sort of like first point. I should be waiting for the best engage because we've got time
Yeah,
instead of just rushing it.
right. So this becomes a case of, oh, you peeked, you discovered there was a Widow, the Widow's only got sightline on you, you take damage. That's fine. Let's just circle back through here, and let's dive her from here. You know what I'm saying? We'll pick up our health pack, we'll dive her from here. That's great because she'll be looking over here, and as long as my Ashe doesn't peek and, get herself eliminated, that's fine because now our attack is coming from 3 different directions, and you actually get to potentially stage a little closer to this Widow that you want to dive, and you've got full health, right? So not like huge, but these things do add up because, what makes Winston struggle is his lack of a poke phase, and you've effectively taken, 150 damage in the poke phase here. So that becomes a, hey, you don't have any armor and you're jumping in, you're going to take more. And unless your team was saying, no, we're pushing right now, again, if they're pushing right now saying, hey, we're hitting the grab, etc., absolutely, you got to do it. You got to tie up the players. But A, this Widow isn't really contributing. B, they're not doing that. You're the one calling the tempo. So, yes, delaying it means they're more likely to screw up and get one of themselves killed and ruin your perfect engagement timing. But this is no longer a perfect engagement timing because you took meaningful damage. So,
Yeah.
just circle through here, get your Mega. And now this is the next best engagement timing, or this is the next best engagement. Becomes your new next best engagement timing as long as someone doesn't get eliminated at the same time. And since you're calling their push, we hope that they won't. I mean, there's nothing super, super dangerous to them up here. The Widow's on the low ground, you know where she is, etc. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I've reached the advantage. Let's coordinate our efforts.
Good.
Oh, let's break it. Damn!
Okay. Are you in this fight?
No,
Maybe.
we're down 2. I shouldn't be using.
Right. We're down 2, and I get it. Like, hey, we threw 3 ults into this fight already. Beat that didn't get you. Beat, Nano, and Grav. We've used 3 ults, so I get it. But we only got 1 elimination, and we're on top of their spawn. This is unfortunately over. This is a case of, you know what? Forget, we're leaving. We're going out here. And that's just going to have to
cut
be
our
life.
losses, stick engage.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't think you're going to have enough distraction to get... Yeah, I don't think you're going to have enough distractions to get anything done with Primal Rage is what I was saying. But yeah, that happened.
Onward and upward.
My ultimate is charging.
It's fine, we'll peel this out. What are you blocking with your bubble here? Because you can't block this Winston's Tesla cannon. Are you worried about, hey, like, there's something up here that's shooting down? What is this bubble for? Because the ball's rolling around and it doesn't block Tesla damage.
Yeah, no, I've got no idea why I bubbled there. I
Okay.
think it might have been a panic use.
Yep, that's fine. Remember, you gotta know, hey, what is this bubble for? Is it to block a flashbang, a sleep, a widow headshot? It can be to block damage, but it's gotta be to block specific damage. It can't be generico, I might be taking damage. It's gotta be, I'm using this to win a duel with a soldier, or I'm using this because I expect that this Reaper is gonna turn and shoot at me and I'm specifically blocking these 2 left clicks, etc. Just be purposeful with your bubble.
Yeah. I get you, because like 12-second cooldown, you've got to get value out of it.
Absolutely.
I feel great.
Okay, So you've got tempo on them. You won out that trade. You do have your bubble back. Now they're using their bubble and primal. Okay. I'm still potentially good with this. It's a 5v5. It's not fantastic, but if you look at how the health was trading out, how the cooldowns are trading out, this is a much better engagement than we saw on the previous couple. Yeah.
Rally to my position.
This bubble was a little early, and the reason this bubble is a little early is, remember, it limits how far you can push. Like, your bubble is sort of how far you can push, and, you know, as soon as she, you know, if she doesn't hit that headshot on you, doesn't immediately hit damage on you, she's gonna retreat a little, and you just want to be able to go, hey, my range, you know, the center of your bubble is effectively your leash. You have a Zarya bubble, which will let you go a little past that leash, but you can't stay there, and you won't be able to with the Mercy. So you just wanted to get a little bit deeper before laying this bubble, unless I've underestimated what the situation was. So let's just take one last look before I go into this too harshly. Have you already dropped your bubble? Yeah, you already dropped your bubble. This becomes one of those, she was distracted, she wasn't really, you know, like, she was looking a sightline here, she didn't have the sightline on you because you came in from the angle. I think you wanted this to push her further out. Not a big deal, because, hey, you're not going to be able to eliminate her regardless, and this does do the job, but even a couple steps deeper lets you put more pressure on her, makes Mercy stay on her as opposed to go out here to help someone else.
And that makes sense.
This will protect us.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Sniper, be careful. Barrier activated.
You've heard her waste her sleep, right? She doesn't have that back yet. No, she does have that back. Good timing. My bad. Okay, so yeah, good push. You got 2 ticks off of it. You did, you know, again, it was a 5v5, but the timing was good in terms of understanding what the health balances were and what the cooldown balances were. You had a little bit of an advantage going into it. You decided to make the push off of that. You had the right idea to go, hey, I'm going to tie up the Widow, even if I can't get an elim on her. You then were able to get the elim on her with your primal. Overall, that was a very good engagement.
Excuse me for dropping in. Vital signs
Fine, you're peeling. You peel hard enough too. That's gone.
Get in there.
feeling powerful, not even angry.
Oh, let's break it.
Target prioritization.
Get in there, boss.
Yeah, good target prioritization there. So far what we've seen, by far the biggest thing is going to be that engagement timing. We did see a, suspicious bubble, but that's not on my worry list yet. So far, the big thing is going to be, hey, we want to make sure we're pushing when it's even or advantageous. So 6v6, 6v5, 5v5 when we have cooldown health advantage, those types of things. So nothing too crazy, but that'll help on every tank since you are now playing Reinhardt, which is fine.
Stick together. We will complete our mission.
Attackers incoming.
I live for a good fight.
Hello. Hello.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend
Let's
objective
micro it.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend
Get just another
objective
second.
3. Ready for battle.
Bring that down to half speed.
I always try to let off the fire strike at 1 second.
Okay.
1. Attackers incoming.
I actually
Defend
think your fire
objective
strike
A.
is still a touch early. I think you can delay that fire strike a touch more and still get value. And the
Okay.
only reason I say that is it's like this will still get some value here. Let's watch it and see what happens. Okay, so that timing's good because they didn't all walk out immediately, but if you look, we are 2 seconds in, so this is a little bit of a slow walkout from them, which, is fine.
Yeah.
That's the thing that happens. But the big thing is also, if we go back and look at you
Ready for battle.
you have to wonder, is it a slow walkout because they saw you? So if we look at this,
5, 4, 3, 2,
Hello.
1.
so you sit here, and you don't sit here for a long time. You sit here for an instant, and then you aim, and then you fire.
Attackers incoming.
That is a fixed area,
Defend
right? Like you
objective
have to
A.
put that fire strike down the same tunnel every single time, right?
Yeah, I could activate it before I peak the angle.
You
Is what
got
you're
it.
saying.
You got it, exactly. And again, it's minor, but it's possible that the reason that these guys were slow to roll out wasn't because they were arguing about what heroes people should be playing, but because maybe they saw a flash of Reinhardt, so that's why the Genji went out first and everyone else chilled.
Yeah, that's fair. Any small changes that I can make,
Yep.
any sort of value I can get is extra.
Don't worry, my friend.
I don't like that you're shielding here. What are you shielding from and why?
Just out of habit. I don't think I'm shielding anything in particular yet. I'm just waiting to see what their comp is.
Yeah, so that's fine. So if you want to see what their comp is, you could, stand over here and shield, and you could shield in such a way that your shield doesn't extend past it, and you'd still get your third person cam, and you could see a little bit past here, right? Sorry, that is how it works. So you could go like here and you could shield, and your shield would stop, at the edge of this door, and you could still see past a little. You wouldn't actually be giving them any shield to shoot at, and it's not like your team is in some way using the shield, and you're definitely not using this shield to swing at them. So this shield is being used to scout. So we can preserve a little more shield by going a bit to the right here to protect our shield. And even if we didn't protect all of our shield, let's at least protect some of our shield while we're getting our third person cam to scout, because there's no value to, there's a shield in this door. Well, you don't even have teammates that are meaningfully firing from behind this. Yes, McCree's here, but McCree certainly can't see your opponents to shoot from here, whereas your opponents can see your shield to shoot at, start softening, etc.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oh. Yeah, and that's just too long in the choke that you don't need, isn't providing value. I want to see, did a diver come in? Why are you backing up like this quite so hard?
I backed up because I saw a monkey and I was expecting him to make a jump in, so I backed up so I'd be more ready to turn around.
Sure, so I can get that, but there's really two places you back up to. So you can go here, and if the monkey jumps in, did they already get someone in? Ball already got in here. Okay, so Ball's already on your back line. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. Totally fine to go, hey, I don't want to be standing here while the ball's on my back line, because your Anna's not going to be pocketing you, etc. But you can just go here, and then it becomes a case of, is Anna too distracted? Well, I'm going to need less heals if I'm here, but I can still swing into the open. Or if you go, no, I think there's going to be a full-scale dive on my team, that's fine. You can go, hey, there's a full-scale dive on my team, or there's enough pressure on my team that I'm afraid that these guys are going to all come around and overwhelm me, and I don't want that, so I don't think I can be here. The other place that you'd retreat to is here. And then you'd play this, and then you've got better sight, you've got better sight line on your team, you're still there. You can poke your shield out to block Ash shots if you need to, but you're less likely to get overwhelmed. This is just not a very good spot. This is better. This is good too. It looks like you're retreating here. Maybe you're going to go to rock. Maybe you're going to go to point. I don't like this straight back up really like this. Let's go here. Yeah, and you take a big shot of damage there. Okay, so you go down. So let's rewind a little and show you what I mean here.
Everyone, move together.
So you should still have a full shield, because you should be to the right. Not a great reason to take that swing, but that's okay. So, again, you could either be here, in which case you're not taking any damage, and if they dive both of their tanks like they do on your Ana, you can potentially go, okay, but if your backline actually stands here to support, I can risk swinging into it and maybe trade. Or, you go back here, and then that charge that you did from here, well, if you do that charge from here, you're covered. You have line of sight blocked. Like if you charge to try and catch the monkey from here or the ball, or charge from here to try and catch the monkey or the ball, you're covered for a longer period of time than if you do it from like here, right? Like these rocks don't make as good cover as this do from the position that they're playing from, which is going to be here or here, right?
I got you.
Okay, cool. I don't really like that fire strike. Yeah, so not a big deal. I'd also generally not recommend, like, if you can hit the charge on the monkey, okay, maybe that ends up being worth it. But if you think about, hey, what is their team? What are they looking to do? Remember, when you're playing a death ball comp against a dive comp, and this is a poke dive comp that you're going against here, what you generally want to do, if you're the Reinhardt, is you sort of want to back up until you can get the opponents in front of you again, and then drive back into them. That's not really an issue here. So, if you hit your charge, great. But if you can't hit your charge, you just sort of want to keep, hey, let's keep this out. Let's keep this, Ana support, this Ashe support, etc. out. This is still enough threat that you going, hey, I'm blocking this out, has real value to your team. Whereas, when you go like this, yeah, of course there's value in swinging at a monkey, especially if you can get yourself on this side between the monkey and the opponent again. That's sort of what you're looking to do. You're sort of looking to go, can I get myself back on the other side of this dive and then push forward back into it so that we have our team on, our team behind the dive again, and then push back up into the divers that are exhausted on cooldowns, etc. I'm going on a little bit there, but effectively,
No, I get you completely there.
cool. Ooh, hamster. It's fine. She wasted sleep. She's vulnerable. You'll have tether and slam. Are you going to go for her? Yes, you are. She's gone. You've got 3 people here. She's gone. Okay. Unfortunate. Faster tether out here was going to be dicey either way, but that's okay. It was good judgment to, go after her after she wasted the sleep. I had no problem with that whatsoever. It was literally just that last micro decision that cost you.
Yeah, I got you.
And now we're going to play Hanamura, ball on first. Okay. Okay. I don't like quite how predictable that was. Do you think that Ashe had line of sight on you? So you're here, and you go here. Do you think as you go for this health pack that the Ashe has line of sight on you?
Yeah, I think she could still hit me before I touched the health pack.
Yeah, so generally you want to be a little less predictable than this with your movement, right? Like, it's just so obvious that what you need to do is go for the health pack right here. So just steer left for an instant. You know what I'm saying? Like, this sort of becomes and I'm actually going to go here to make you miss a shot and then go here type thing. Because you have to wait out some purple anyways here. Or I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to double back for the health pack. Or you know what? I'm not even going for that health pack. I'm coming back up for this one. Like, this was just... Now, she... In reality... Oh, no, she did go over here. Oh, your Pharah must have booped her off. Okay, so your Pharah booped her off, and you kind of got lucky, is what I'd say there. So, you know, like, there was always going to be some of that, but even just a quick, as you're going for a health pack, or as it's obvious you're going to go for a health pack, just steer the other way for a second, and you'll be surprised at the amazing number of times that a shot goes the other way. And it doesn't really cost you anything on ball, because you're so fast in general, especially when you're purple in this situation.
System restored.
Okay. If you're going to win this point, you are going to have to force the Mercy, so that's fine. Okay, you didn't have a clean roll on him, so you just circled. Yeah, sorry. Too far. Let's try that again. There we go. And just a second should be fine. So that Winston bubble's already up. Where do you think he's going to get knocked if you fireball into him right here?
I was expecting him to just be knocked against the wall. I was thinking he'd still be inside of the bubble.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Rocket barrage incoming.
I actually think you cleanly enough won this fight that you probably wanted to, like, you just don't realize this from a space control standpoint, but you've cleanly enough won this fight. They've got both of their tanks here. I think you have one person really still coming back, two people still coming back. Okay, I can live with that. I was thinking that, hey, you can go get your one to heal you, but no, you're right. Your Anna's further away.
Move back.
In transit.
You're shooting at the Mercy as just poke, distraction, etc. You shoot at the Ashe, that's real, but I think it's appropriate to be distracting real at that time because the other team has legit come in. Okay. I think at that point it was honestly probably worth it to do an ability swing rather than to just shoot at the Ashe there. Like when you were shooting at the Mercy, that was just hey, poke, etc. Shooting at the Ashe was, we'll say, a little more serious, but also their team was in. If their team is in like this, you can justify spending your cooldowns to disrupt their backline, helping that in, right? So this to me becomes a, hey, rather than, taking shots at an Ashe that you're not going to really get and who, pokes back at you much harder, you potentially wanted to do a swing through, knock them away, and then just roll back to point type thing. Like, knock her away, keep her a little more out of this fight, etc. Just be a little higher impact. Because if you look at what you traded here, $517. You already have mines. That's not the point. The point wasn't to get mines. You get her down to half. That's instantly going to get healed, but it's fine. The point is you're distracting her. But, the damage that she did is a little more critical and making you go, hey, I probably have to go find a health pack now. I probably have to stay out of the fight. I'm getting nitpicky, definitely, but it's the sort of thing where if you were going to trade that health, I wanted her out of the fight. I wanted her booped a little that way or something for a little longer than the amount of time it takes Mercy to heal back up. Just
That
because
makes sense.
your team was, her team had actually, mostly committed at that point, so there was value in
Oh,
it.
let's break it. Damn!
Okay. Nice dodge.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay. Yeah, I can't get her with the tether there, really.
Feeling sleepy?
But you're going for the rollback. And you can't stay? Yeah, okay, good. Well done. You're just softening the shield, that's fine.
30 seconds remaining.
Do you think that adaptive shield was worth it?
No, probably not. Fair.
Right. So I don't think that ball was going to stay in on you. I think the ball was happy to go, oh, you're here, and this is space that, he needed to transition through. So you can just sort of go, yeah, I'll shoot you. And yeah, okay, you hurt me a little bit more. But it was always very likely that you were going to go, hey, their ball's in, and you were going to do some sort of swing through here to break up the rest of their push, right? And you're going to want the big adaptive shield for that, not the, 150 adaptive shield off of shielding this guy. So just the sort of thing where you're thinking 3-4 seconds ahead, and you know that you're going to very likely want your adaptive shield in a second.
Yeah, it's like with the monkey ball from earlier. I wanted to save it to get more value than I did.
Exactly.
10 seconds.
In fact, if we do look back, I think your decision to continue on the ball here is because you don't have adaptive shield. I think if you had adaptive shield, you'd probably go, no, let me do a quick roll through here, adaptive shield, roll out, and that would have been, more helpful to your team.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
You're powered up. Get in there.
What are you supposed to do with that? Yeah. You had the right idea.
Objective
In terms of leaving, it was just...
I was gonna go for that mega actually to re-engage, but I got nanoed, so I thought might as well try to get something out of it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you do have a pretty poke-heavy comp. This is okay with me. Let's see if you continue on these tanks here to play Peel.
Step right up. Draw.
So that decision to play Peel there was okay with me, but again, this is one of those things where disrupting their backline, you both have double poke DPS, right? You've got McCree Ashe and McCree Farah. So I look at that, your poke is going to be pretty similar here in terms of your value, blah, 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 blah. You're probably better off doing the roll through of the 4 here and just saying, hey, I'm going to roll through, I'm going to adaptive shield, I'm going to be annoying, I'm going to get the health back, etc., as opposed to the, 150 damage that you put in on their tanks here. Like, if we really look at that. I didn't rewind quite far enough. So you do some shield damage there. You hit one with a fireball, and then you put another 100 damage or so into their monkey. So not like bad by any means, but given that, there's 3-4 people, there was 4 people in here, you can get through this pretty cleanly. Like, they have a McCree and an Anna, so it's a little scary. There's double stun there, but there's no Briggs there. There's nothing like that. And your team is going to absolutely crush this, right? Your McCree and your Fair are going to absolutely crush this 2-tank dive if they don't get backline support. So I don't mind this peel here. This peel here isn't wrong, but given where these opponents are grouped, if you have any knowledge that the opponents are grouped here, that they haven't come up through here, and you should based on the pace that they got here, this was probably a better roll through because it's very safe, right? You're not going to get punished for this roll through. Like, do you see a scenario? Unless your adaptive shield literally gets interrupted, you're not going to get punished on this roll through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, they'll do more damage to you than you do to them, but you keeping them out of the fight means that one or both of these tanks go down almost for sure from your Farah plus McCree there.
Step rider. Powering shields.
Little slow, just like a tear slow in the decision to do that roll through to protect your McCree, but that's fine. Good. Less good.
System restored.
That's done.
Oh, let's break it.
Do something!
Step rider.
It's reasonable.
Round. Ready for battle.
Okay.
Hello.
Ready for battle.
Ah, we're back on Ryan. Okay. Oh, we've got our hanging fire strike bug.
Seen that before. It's interesting.
One.
Yeah, it's not really there. It's just a spectator thing. But, you know, like coalescences not being there, fire strikes sometimes are there. Going for the sim TP play. Okay, I can live with that. Okay.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay. You're in a bit of a dicey situation here. Your shield's down to 400 HP, and you're down to half health. So, totally get it. You know, this is a dicey situation. You're burning, all that good stuff. So, you can sort of try to close here, but they can shoot through the window. So your actual close, I know you're trying to help your sim charge up, etc., but your sim has sort of had time to charge up at this point, right? Like, let's rewind actually and sort of re-show that. Okay, so here you are. Your lamp is up. Okay. At this point, I'm sort of saying you've done the job that you needed to, which was really to allow your sim to ramp up. And I'm thinking, hey, this is going to be really hard for you to hold. You can try to go here, and that's potentially fine, though you're going to get shot by this ash through the window, and that's going to hurt. Or you can retreat back to this bell a little bit. But I don't think you can hold this space anymore, do you?
No, I think I should be moving somewhere for sure.
Okay. Okay. You do move to the corner, which I can live with. And now you... I know you don't have much shield left, but when you turn purple like this, you just gotta spend everything you got. Either stay here or try to use your shield to get back behind Bell. You've still got enough health that you're not, you know, a worthless resource at this point, etc. But, like, you can't be you can't be charging during this, you can't be swinging during this. This charge, if you hit someone, hey, that's great, but you are going to go down. You're trying to charge into this pillar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And just as a reminder, you have 300 HP, you're purple, and their whole team is right here. You're not going to live if you do this charge here. And I get it, hey, maybe
Yeah.
you'll hit this Sigma and pin this Sigma into the wall, and then, hey, maybe you'll be able to trade. You won't quite get him by yourself, but maybe you'll be able to trade. But I look at this and go, no, we don't need to write you off quite yet. You still have 400 shield left. Let's use that 400 shield and see where we can go.
I'm under attack.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Gunslinger's loading.
Oh, let's break it. Turn.
Initiating match. Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So we've talked about this already, but it's just, me re-bringing up that this is a thing that you're doing. We've talked about the retreat path if we're worried about a dive.
I think at this point as well, we were expecting them to possibly go sim as well. Same strat we used.
Yep.
That's why I wanted to back off more towards the point here. just in
Yeah.
case.
For this, if you're worried about the sim thing specifically, yes, backing up to point is perfectly fine. That does become advantageous to, hey, you don't want to get stuck here, and yes, it's definitely faster from here. And if your supports aren't here, backing up straight towards point has more value as well. When your backline was back here, again, this becomes a better thing, and the cover it gives you, how it protects you, etc. But at this point, this is junk time anyways, because you're down to 5 people. Let's take a look. Just shielding, good. Lamps up. I think this is just going to be junk time. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'll formulate them for you in a moment, but I think it's better for you getting this stuff, etc. If you tell me, what do you think in this session the most important things we've covered for working on your gameplay are?
Okay. I was thinking mainly for the Winston, just paying attention to how my team, like, what resources we have, like who's up, what cooldowns we have, based on when I'm going to engage.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
the main thing that I'm focusing on.
I would definitely say the biggest thing overall is going to be your engagement timings, and you're playing in Masters, so engagement timings isn't just a case of, do we have 6 people, do they have 6 or less people, etc. It also starts to factor in what's the health situation, what's the position situation, what's the cooldown situation, and yeah, we definitely saw there's a little room for improvement there. Specifically, we saw the rough one at the first tier. So yeah, I think that is going to be the most valuable thing. That is the most transitional between your tanks in general. So that's the most. Would there be a second placed thing, or where would you go with that?
Let's see. I guess the second place would be on Ryan when you were talking about when I charged there when I was purple.
Okay.
'Cause at that point, I guess I was just thinking, I'm pretty much dead anyway. Let's see if I can get a last bit of value out of myself. As you were saying, I still had shield left, and if I just tried to survive, maybe I could have done something more.
Yeah, so we could definitely say that, like, hey, don't be afraid to preserve your own life, just hard shield, go back to here, hard shield, stay here, etc. Like, I'm totally fine with that on Rhine. I think that's a thing. I think the bigger thing that we'd probably get into is probably a understanding some of your cooldown use, where we got remember the adaptive shield against just a ball when that ball was in your team space and you were in no danger, the bubble that we had over here. So I'd actually get more into your defensive cooldown use with a purpose would probably be my second place thing, where it would be, hey, wait, this changes what I can do in the future. If I drop my bubble here, I can't really dive for 12 seconds. If I use my adaptive shield here, I can't 4 seconds later do what I'd like to, which is, break up their push in. And the break up their push in is something that I'd like you to be aware of. It's not always the right decision. There's definitely many factors that go into it, but in this particular match, there's a couple times, like up there, would have preferred you able to break them up, and then this one, the swing through four, or just swing roll through four, then come back for the health back, etc. That I'd preferred that to you playing tank peeling. So can you sort of give me a summary of like what are situations that potentially make it better to peel incoming diving tanks because you do this as Winston too. So as a dive tank, what are some factors that determine when it's better to peel incoming tanks versus when it's better to, go, I call it counter dive, but people don't like that because people use counter dive to mean peel the tanks, versus when to dive their back line even if their tanks are diving your back line?
Um, I would think if they're staging like a full team dive,
Mhm.
I'd want to be peeling.
Yep.
Like since they were running, like you were saying, poke DPS
Mhm.
and healers that probably wouldn't want to be in as deep as the tanks, then I would go for their backline. But if they were more fast-paced team and there was the chance of the rest of them coming onto my backline as well, then I would peel the tanks.
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes a, hey, how, powerful focused is their backline? If you're right, if they're running Lucio, Moira, Reaper, May or something, they don't have a backline. And you just kind of go, okay, well, of course I'm going to disrupt it, blah, 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 blah. But, in this situation where they're running Ash McCree or something like that, plus Anna, okay, that's a big backline. So you probably don't want to roll through it. Your team also factors into it, as does some of their stuff. Like if they have a Briggs, maybe you go, no, I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to go right back to peeling tanks, etc. And
Yeah.
yeah, if your team is even poke heavier than theirs, like if you're running Widowmaker, for example, yeah, it becomes more important for you to peel, etc. So different factors go in, but in that sort of balanced situation where both teams are running pretty heavy poke, you're going to get more total value out of disrupting the incoming damage onto your guys from the poke, messing that up, even though you're going to now take a lot of that damage, than you are just peeling off the tanks, at least. Yeah, in what we saw here, that was generally going to be the case. That's not a hard, fast rule. So in order, I'd sort of say, again, that engagement timing, understanding the numbers, the cooldowns, etc., understanding the situation, especially if you're calling it, that's great. You can go, hey, the situation has changed. I've got it. If you're calling it, that's going to make a big difference for your team. So let's focus on that. Then let's focus on, hey, the defensive cooldown usage so that we understand, wait, there is an opportunity cost to using this. Let's make sure if I use this, I really want to use it. And I'm not
Yeah.
even going to say the thing, hey, you do in some of these situations here, because it's a more complex thing. And I think it's the least important of the things for you to focus on. But if I were to pick a third thing, it would be be more aware of when it makes more sense to go contest their backline instead of peeling for your own backline.
Yeah, I get you.
Cool, cool. Do you have any questions then? Anything that you're going, hey, I don't understand this, or other things like, hey, what else, could we do duo wise, or talk to me. You got anything?
Um, yeah, let's see. So most of like since I started taking Overwatch seriously and
Mm-hmm.
started trying to become the best player that I could be,
Sure,
I've mainly used like learned mainly from watching like
Round
educational channels like yours or Philo or John Galt or any sort of
sure,
high level coaches that I can find.
sure.
Um, is there value in me going over, say, old VOD reviews? Because sometimes I'll have watched reviews, and then other times I'll go back and watch them again. I don't know if I can get more from a VOD review, as I get better as a player.
Sure. So, yes, but there's some pretty serious diminishing returns. You got to be careful. So, there's things that you do that are good for a while, and then you do get to a point where you've kind of drained that tap. Like there's a little in there, but there's significantly diminishing returns on the value you're getting. It's like, okay, I'm watching this how to play ball video. I'm watching this. I'm watching this. And if you're continuing to rewatch old stuff, the first time you got 3 useful things out of it, 5 useful things out of it. The second time, because you have a new and different understanding of the game and you've seen a bunch of different things, you now got one new thing out of it. And hey, that one new thing can be useful, but is that a better use of time than reviewing your own gameplay, putting pros stream on going to a pro stream and watching it on mute when it's not live to go, okay, what are they doing in this situation? Let me judge it. Does it compare to what do I do? Why are they doing it that way? I don't understand why they're doing it that way. Let me go check if another pro who plays the same hero is doing the same thing in the situation. They're doing different. Which do I think is right and why, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I want to do it that way, et cetera. So like just continuing to go and say, hey, I'm going to rewatch a VOD review of, ball that I've already seen before. That's going to become lower and lower value as you've seen more, but you are still going to want to do some quick stuff to go, hey, I do still want to see some of the current stuff that is coming out. Like if, Temporal put out a new how to play this composition thing, for example. Yeah, I want to go see that because I want to understand how is this being played? What has changed? What is, Winston's role in this type of setup, that how is it different than other metas, or oh, it's like this meta that I did play during. I get it, but I wouldn't have seen that before. So that's fine, but don't overdo it on rewatching stuff, and don't overdo it on watching stuff to the point of either not playing or not reviewing your own stuff enough. Like going and finding new stuff should be a part of your diet, but it probably shouldn't be more than like 20% of your improvement diet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, I saw you were saying that in one of your Ask Temporal videos as well.
Perfect.
Um, One last thing I wanted to ask is, so doing like self VOD reviews, I've always struggled whenever I go to watch my own gameplay.
Hmm.
I, Lots of the time, I just feel like I'm sitting there and I'm not really taking it in, or I'm not sure what to be looking for when
Yeah,
I'm doing my own reviews.
rewind more. So what's going to happen is it becomes a skill, but it is a skill that you're going to have to get a little bit of practice on. Now, there's two ways you can go at it. You can just keep trying it, watch yours slower, rewatch it, and you can start with obvious things. Like you can go, okay, what are the obvious things that I'm going to review? Like I don't know how to do a VOD review right now, so I'm going to go every time I have a death, I'm going to just rewatch the 30 seconds or the team fight leading up to that death and see, is there anything I could have done to avoid that? Now, that's not always correct because there's, times when you go down that it's perfectly acceptable that you went down in Overwatch and it was the right play. But it's a flashpoint that you can look at it. Okay, I need to study the last team fight, or I need to study the last 30 seconds, and I need to figure out, is there something I could have done to not have been eliminated here? And if so, first I'm going to figure out what could I have done to not be eliminated, and then I'm going to figure out from there, okay, but would that have been worth it? Would that have been worth, et cetera, et cetera? Or you could do the same thing with every time you use your ult. You see what I'm saying? And you can sort of build out
Yeah,
from some of these identifiable events. The other option is it's hard to review yourself. So what you could do is, just to get a little bit of review practice, you could go, okay, I'm going to hop on Overwatch University or whatever, and I'm going to review a couple other people, even if they're worse than me, if they play the same heroes as me, just to sort of get a little bit into the rhythm. I'm not saying, oh, go review someone every day, but just even like 2 or 3 reviews as an investment to go, okay, now I get it. Now I'm seeing it. I can see it when other people make these mistakes. And then you're going to discover that you're making some of the same mistakes. Not as bad as they are, not
yeah,
to the same degree, but once you see that mistake in other people, you're like, okay, this, engagement timing was something that I was seeing they were making a lot of mistake on, and then you're going to be more able to see when you make that mistake in your own review. It just kind of works. I don't know how to explain it better than
yeah.
that.
No, I get you. Just building up the practice of it over time, I'll get
Yep.
better at it.
Yeah. Exactly. Um, so yeah, that's what I've got there. We've got time for one or two more. Any other questions?
No, nothing that I can think of.
Okay, then it's been great. I hope this serves you well. If you, come up with more questions or if you want another review, you certainly know how to reach out to me. But I hope what you've got here will give
Absolutely.
you a nice bit of an improvement path.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Cool. Talk to you soon.
All right, talk
Bye.
to you, man. Bye.